So you've been creating content for a while, but now you're ready to make your setup look and sound professional. Today, I'm going to show you how to transform your setup from looking and sounding like this to this. At its core, a professional YouTube studio consists of 4 key elements: audio, video, lighting, and the accessories that tie it all together. The real secret is understanding how these pieces work as a system, which ones make the biggest impact, and how to prioritize them when you're balling on a budget. Let's kick it off with audio, the foundation of any professional studio setup. Audio makes up for about 50% of the entire viewing experience, and honestly, it's the biggest reason people click away. You can have perfect lighting and shoot in 4K, but if your audio is muffled and unclear, it kills retention. If you like how my audio sounds, it's because I'm using the legendary Shure SM7B. It's one of the most popular and reliable microphones on the market, and everything about it screams premium quality, but it's expensive. The mic alone runs about $439, and you'll need an interface with a clean preamp to power it. For that, I use the Rodecaster Duo, which goes for around $499. As far as I'm concerned, that's money well spent. It's packed with features, it streamlines my entire audio workflow, and it doubles as a mini mixer. It's perfect for live streams or 2-person podcasts if you plan to bring guests on your show. But here's the thing, you don't need this mic to sound amazing. If you're not ready to drop $1,000 on audio, the Shure MV7 Plus is a fantastic budget-friendly option. For about $299, it gives you a surprisingly similar tone at a fraction of the price. And it connects directly to your laptop over USB. No interface, no extra gear, just plug and play. If you want to hear how these mics sound side by side, I did an in-depth comparison in my last video, so feel free to check it out after this one. I personally went with the SM7B Rodecaster combo because I'm thinking long term. I want to future-proof my studio for interviews and guest episodes, and this setup gives me the most flexibility. It's funny, the famous saying is lights, camera, action, and nobody never says audio. Before we get to the camera and the action, let's talk lighting, because great lighting is what creates the atmosphere and the mood of your entire shot. Lighting is what turns an ordinary setup into something cinematic. The right lighting can make a $300 camera look like a $3,000 one. A great example is my intro, because everything I shot was on the same camera, but the only thing that was different was the lighting and the audio as well, but you get the point. Lighting comes down to 4 simple elements: your key light, your fill light, your rim light, and your practicals. Once you understand how these work together, your entire shot instantly levels up. For my key light, I'm using the Aperture Amaran 100XS paired with the Aperture Lightdome Mini 3 softbox. This combo gives me that clean cinematic lighting you're seeing right now. The 100XS has excellent color accuracy, great output, and it handles skin tones beautifully, which is extremely important if you want your shot to look professional. Yes sir. It also has adjustable color temperature, which makes it super simple to set your white balance. For reference, my white balance here is set to 5600 Kelvin, which is the natural daylight setting. Now, the Lightdome Mini 3 is what really shapes and softens your light. It gives you that big soft glow on the face. The way I describe it, it feels like you're sitting inside a little light pod. It helps separate you from a dark or color background. The Amaran 100XS usually runs about $199, and the Lightdome Mini 3 is about $129. So together, you're looking at roughly $330 for your key light setup. And you still need a dedicated light stand, which pushes your total closer to $400. More on that when we touch on accessories later. But if you're not ready to spend that much on lighting, there's a great budget option: the Godox SL 60W kit. It's about $239.99, and it includes the light, a softbox, and a light stand. So it's a full bundle right out the box. The only downside is it's not adjustable, meaning that you're locked into one color temperature at 5600 Kelvin. If you're someone who likes warmer tones or need flexibility for white balance, that may be limiting. I actually bought this kit first but returned it once I realized it only had a single color temperature. Either way, the main thing to remember is this: a strong key light with a good softbox will get you 80 to 90% of that professional studio look. Everything else is just a bonus. For my fill light, I'm using the GVM Mini double-sided video light. A fill light's job is simple. It brightens the darker side of your face and softens the shadows created by the key light. How much fill you really need depends on where your key light is positioned and how cinematic you want your lighting to look. I actually use two of these lights. One as my fill light and the other as a practical to add color to the background. They're small, versatile, RGB capable, and really easy to position anywhere. You can pick up a pair of these directly from GVM's website for $159. For some reason, they're currently unavailable on Amazon. Earlier I mentioned rim lights, but technically I don't use a traditional one in my setup. Instead, I rely on my practicals to separate me from the background. Practicals are any lights that appear in your shot. They add color, atmosphere, or brightness to any areas that would normally look flat or dull. For this, I'm using the Godox TL30 RGB tube light. It's extremely versatile, compact, and runs about $81. I positioned this tube light along with one of my GVM lights just outside the frame on each side to add that colored backdrop you're seeing behind me. And here's the key. The spill from the TL30 actually doubles as a subtle rim light. It gives me just enough edge separation to lift me off the background without needing a dedicated rim light. This adds depth, keeps the image from looking flat, and creates that cinematic color-rich backdrop. So even without a traditional rim light, you can still get that clean separation by simply using your practicals creatively. Remember, lighting isn't about brightness, it's about control. Shadows and colors are what sell the professional studio feel. If you're wondering why I put audio and lighting ahead of video, it's because most smartphones already shoot in HD and many iPhones can record in 4K. So most creators already have high resolution video. What they don't have is great audio and lighting. I spent my first year on YouTube recording on an iPhone 14. It worked fine at first, but I quickly ran into storage issues and workflow problems because using your phone for everything is a headache. It doesn't take long to outgrow a smartphone once you start creating consistently. So I finally upgraded to the Sony ZV-E10 paired with the Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens, and it was a total game changer. The camera cost about $698 and the lens about $479, making it an expensive upgrade, but it gives you way more flexibility. Once you switch to a camera with interchangeable lenses, lens combos are limitless. Remember, you don't need an expensive camera body, you just need the right lens and the right settings. If the Sigma 16mm is outside your budget, the Sony ZV-E10 with the 16 to 50mm kit lens comes in around $798 total. It's not as sharp or as good in low light, but it's a solid starting point. I chose the ZV-E10 and Sigma 16mm combo because it's one of the most popular setups for YouTube talking head videos. It has a clean, wide angle with a beautiful background blur. Just remember, the lens is a far bigger upgrade than the camera. Alright, time for the action. Let's talk accessories. For me, accessories are all about reliability and functionality. The right gear speeds up your workflow and keeps things running smoothly. And trust me, there's nothing worse than having your gear fail while you're recording, or realizing you've been talking for 10 minutes straight and never hit record. For my camera, the first accessory I picked up was a continuous power adapter. This is the must-have for longer recording sessions so you don't run out of power halfway through a take. You can power the ZV-E10 over USB-C, but it won't charge the battery while you're recording. Sony's official AC adapter costs about $158, but there are plenty affordable generic and external battery options out there. Personally, I'm always paranoid about something failing during a shoot, so for peace of mind, I just went with Sony's adapter. To mount the camera, I use the Endurax 60-inch tripod, which runs about $32.99 on Amazon. As far as features go, it's pretty basic, but it gets the job done. It has a small leveling bubble, it's lightweight, and it's sturdy enough for a simple studio setup. Nothing fancy, but you don't need fancy for talking head videos. For storage, I use a Lexar 128GB SD card. It costs about $28.99, it's fast and supports full 4K recording. That gives you roughly 2.5 hours of 4K footage depending on your recording settings. To be honest, I hardly ever use it because I rely on the Elgato Camlink 4K. It's an external capture card that lets me record in full 4K directly to my laptop or an external hard drive. This is especially important if you plan to live stream in 4K, because even though the ZV-E10 can connect to your laptop over USB-C, it's limited to 720p, which is one of the camera's major drawbacks. To get around that, I connect my camera to the Camlink using a 10-foot 4K micro HDMI to HDMI cable I picked up off Amazon for $9.99. The SD card still comes in handy whenever I need to record on the go or grab B-roll without being plugged into my laptop. Since I don't record in front of a desk, my mic is mounted on the Gator Frameworks mic stand with boom arm. It costs about $74.99. Depending on your setup, you might prefer a traditional desk stand or boom arm. Both will work. To hook up my mic, I use a 10-foot XLR cable. I grabbed a 2-pack off Amazon for $19.99. There's always debate about expensive versus cheap XLR cables, but in my experience, only two things really matter. The cable should be shielded, and nitric connectors tend to give you the most reliable connection. To mount my key light, I use a 9-foot heavy-duty light stand I grabbed on Amazon for $49. I didn't overthink this one. I found one with good reviews and went for it. It's sturdy, it's tall enough, and it gets the job done. If you're wondering what kind of chair I use, because I know chair talk can get pretty technical and there's some real ergonomic chair nerds out there, I'm rocking a leather lazy boy I got from Costco for $149.99. Just choose something comfortable because you're going to be sitting in it for a long time. And don't get it twisted, comfort is underrated. When I first started, I sat in one of my dining room chairs, and that was painful, literally. Don't cheap out on the chair. Building a professional YouTube studio isn't about money. It's about understanding how your audio, lighting, and video work together to create the right mood, atmosphere, and shot. It doesn't matter if you're in a spare bedroom, a garage, or a corner of your living room. What matters is how creatively and efficiently you combine your tools. If you're interested in picking up any of this equipment, be sure to check out the links in the description below. Remember, you don't need to buy everything all at once. I built my studio piece by piece over 2 years through trial and error. Black Friday is right around the corner, so it's the perfect time to get the gear you've been eyeing for less. I hope this guide helps you to build the studio of your dreams without breaking the bank. And if you're still torn about which microphone to choose, check out my in-depth breakdown of the Shure SM7B versus the MV7 here.